friends can watch this. So welcome everyone. Welcome to our first chicken Zoom of the year. We are excited here in the IDC to share a little bit of knowledge with you about what's happening here in the IDC. Many of you who have visited the IDC this week noticed that something has arrived, and you're right. And hopefully this will be one of several of our Zooms for you this next couple of weeks here in our Zoom kind of experience here of learning about chickens. So I have over here in our science zone, we have chicken eggs here. And these chicken eggs are set up in a very specialized incubator. And that incubator is allowing them to grow, all right? And so I'll talk a little bit more about what's happening in these eggs in just a moment. But first of all, I just want to say happy Friday. Happy Friday, Beacon friends. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen because I have a wonderful presentation here to show all of you. And we're going to learn a little bit more about the chickens and what's happening in our IDC. And then from there, we're going to look at what's happening. Okay. All right. So right now, go ahead and make sure your crisscross applesauce are sitting flat in your chair. That way everyone around you is able to sit and listen. And here we go. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to learn a little bit right now about chickens. All right, so let me go to my full slideshow here. All right, beautiful friends, here is our slideshow. It's loading, haha. All right, so we're gonna learn a little bit about the life cycle of the chicken. And I know that many of you here at Beacon, you've studied other life cycles of animals, right? So some of you right now are currently learning about the life cycle of a mealworm. Some of you are studying about worms and how they help decompose in the life cycle of worms. Some of you have learned about other animals and are getting ready to learn about other animals like butterflies. So we're going to jump in and start learning a little bit more about these chickens that are here in the IDC. Here we go. All right, so chickens on average, they have a lifespan of only 3 to 5 years. Some can actually get a little bit older. It just depends if they're in the perfect conditions, and it depends on the kind of type, the breed of the chicken. We also have something very similar is that they do have a life cycle, a life stage, just like humans do, and like other animals, like the insects that you've been learning about. So they start out in the egg, and as they're growing inside the egg, they are an embryo. And as soon as they hatch from that egg, they're called a hatchling. And then they are called a chick. That's like their little tiny, baby phase there. And then they kind of are teenagery, and it's kind of like the childhood, chick and childhood, think of that. And then they become adults, okay? And chickens they're not like our guinea pigs here. Our guinea pigs are herbivores. So herbivores mean that they eat only what? What do you guys think? Plants or animals? What do you guys think? Herbivores eat plants. I hear it. I hear it out in the hallway. Good job, guys. So if they're herbivores, they're going to eat only plants. That's our guinea pigs. And if they're omnivores, that means that it's an animal that eats plants and animals. Okay. And so a chicken is an omnivore. It eats plants and animals, like little bugs and that. And some other animals are like carnivores, very much like the lions and tigers, big predators, okay? All right, so types of chickens. There are actually lots and lots and lots of chickens out there, but there is 6 major classes of chickens that are known into the world, okay? That doesn't mean there's 6 kinds of chickens. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I'll share this slideshow with all of you here in the IDC. So if you want to learn more about that, you can actually use this page here that I have. And you can later on, you can click right here on that, and that will be there for you. So pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. All right. All right, so the chicken life cycle is very similar to other life cycles of animals that you might be familiar with. So let's go ahead right now and let's look at those. So we've got, they start out as an egg, right? And then inside the egg, the embryo starts developing. And then right as it's hatching and it's all wet and everything, right as it comes out of the egg, it is called a hatching, a hatchling, okay? Then once that happens, then we've got the chick. So when it's the child, it's called a chick, okay? Oop, let me let Mrs. Lai in, there we go. And so we've got the chick, and then once it's an adult, the adult is called a chicken, okay? And so we call boy chickens roosters, and we call girl chickens hens. All right, let's move to the next slide. Doop. There we go. Oh, look at all that. I gotta go back a level and clear all my drawings. There we go. All right. So next up is a wonderful view of the 21 days of our chickens growing in these eggs. And you might have also noticed that we put out our little plastic eggs here in the IDC as well, so that you can open up our little plastic model eggs and look to see what does the chicken look like on that first day. And so what's nice is that you can gradually see the changes that are happening to this wonderful, beautiful living species. So right now we're in the first week, and you can see right here that we are on day 4, because we got our chickens late Monday afternoon. So they began growing in the incubator Monday evening, Tuesday morning, right in there. So we are on day 4, and you can already tell that a lot's already kind of changed. We've got things right here, it looks like little spider webs, right? Well, those aren't spider webs, those are actually blood vessels. And what's happening is that this little bit right here, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that part is of the egg, is growing and turning into the actual baby chick. And that little baby chick, we're going to be able to see starting next week a whole lot more. The first week, it just kind of looks like a lot of stuff growing together with a lot of veins. And that's pretty neat. And you'll notice that as it slowly grows, even in that last week, it looks more and more every day like a chick. And it doesn't, when it's born, when it hatches out from the egg, it doesn't have real feathers on it that are like regular adult-like feathers. It has a special kind of feather that are called down feathers. And those of you that were here last year, and those that are here with us this year, you guys will get to see those wonderful little down feathers. They're so cute and fluffy, and they start falling out and they start getting their first set of real feathers, which is always so exciting to see. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the next. All right, so a little bit more about our chicks as they're developing. Since we don't have a mother hen for our chicks, we have to be the mother hen for them. So that's why we have this special thing called the incubator in our IDC. Now, the incubator itself is very, very special, and it's very technical because it has to stay on all hours of the day. You can't turn it off at night, because otherwise that growing embryo inside, that chick embryo, it will die. So the temperature stays around 99 degrees, which is really warm. And the humidity level, we have to make sure that there's enough water in it. So the humidity level has to stay somewhere close to around 50%, between 45 to 50% humidity. So that's like the moisture in the air. And because we're using these really nice specialized incubators here in the IDC, it also has a special rotator engine to help rotate and kind of help roll the eggs over, so that as the embryo is developing, it doesn't get stuck to one side of the egg, okay? So because we don't have a mama hen, we got a cool incubator. And 21 days are needed for that little baby chick to mature from the embryo to go into then that wonderful chick that's ready to be hatched out. Somewhere around day 19 is when we might see some of that rocking and peeping and pepping at the on the eggs, and that's when we'll start seeing a lot of that like shaking that goes on. And we'll start the live feed not next week, but the following week. So probably next week around Friday, we'll set it up so that those of you in our IDC Canvas course, you're going to be able to click on our Canvas course and watch the egg fun. And maybe you might get to see an egg hatch in your classroom when you're watching the live stream, or maybe you might watch it in your PJs at home. Who knows? So that's always exciting. You never know when the egg might actually hatch. So the last thing I want to share with you is a little bit about kind of like the ins and outs of the inside of an egg. So give me some waves. People, wave your hand if you've ever cracked open an egg or seen an egg cracked open before. Do I see some wavy hands? Oh yeah, look at those wavy hands. Good job. All right, go ahead and put those awesome wavy hands down. Good job, good job. All right, so inside the egg, you're probably aware of some of the bits. Like you've probably noticed before, oops, you've probably already noticed that excuse me, the white stuff, right? Because there's, when you crack an egg, there's always a white, like the white stuff around it, like a clear white. We call that the albumin. And that's the part that is around, that's like a fluid that's around the chick as it's developing. Okay. And you probably already know that the yellow orangey part center of the egg is the yolk. Okay. So that's right here. But there's some other cool parts of an egg that are really, really important to the chicken that is developing. That first part is this white little squiggly line that you've probably noticed before, and you're like, what is that called? So the two white little squiggly lines that kind of usually attach, and it looks like they're attached to the center of the yolk, that actually has a place. It's to keep the yolk from sliding from one side to another. It's called the chalaza. Okay. And the chalaza kind of acts as that muscly kind of a feature to stabilize that yolk in the center of the egg. Now, here is a cool part also about that egg. There is a little pocket of air over here on the far side of the egg. It only gets one little air package. And that air package is super, super important because as the chicken is developing, it has to be developed so that it can peek out on that side, all right? Because if your chicken peeks out on this side over here and tries, it's gonna probably die. And so our baby chicks, usually their head and their beaks are usually on this side over here, wherever the air chamber, the little air sac is, okay? And that's gonna be the softer side for it to peck out. And while it's pecking, it needs air. And so because it can't, until it peeks a hole all the way through with its little tiny egg tooth on its beak, it can't get all the way through and it needs to breathe. So it's going to use some of that little bit of an air chamber there. Now, I will tell you what's nice about the egg is that it is porous, meaning if I were to put this egg in water right now, I would drown the baby, which would be very sad. But what's curious about it as a scientific part is that I could drown the baby chicken because that air flow is needed. Okay. The shell you can see is that hard shell that's all the way around. Now I will also tell you that I lost my mouse. Oh, there it is. That the shell has kind of two parts to it. It has the hard shell, and then those of you that have ever peeled an egg before, you might have noticed that sometimes like there's a skin right underneath the egg. Well, that's the shell membrane, okay? The shell membranes, that is the part that kind of helps as the buffer between the gooey part inside of an egg and the hard shell. So that's pretty neat there. All right, and the last bit of cool science that you get to learn about for the eggs, you might have seen this before. Usually if you look really close, on an egg and on the yolk, somewhere on the yolk, usually there is what's called like a little white dot, and that is a blastodisc, okay? And after the egg gets fertilized, it no longer becomes a blastodisc, it becomes a blastoderm. Woo, look at me recalling all of my college biology classes. So that blastoderm then is right here, and that is where that baby chick then starts developing. And the baby chick, when it's on the inside, it is going to eat this yolk. The yolk is its food supply as it is growing. And that is amazing. All right, let's take another look at some more of the chicks, okay? So chicks on the inside, as they are developing, we are right now in week 1. We are currently in day 4, and you can see right here where that blastoderm right here, it is developing and the cells are multiplying. That's the whole idea of what's happening in an embryo, is that the cells in there are clustered and they're multiplying together, and we're getting this network of veins, and the heart is developing and the eyes and the brain. And all of a sudden what's going to happen is that all that growth is going to turn into an embryo that looks like this. And you're like, ugh, that looks like an alien, not a baby. And you're right. Those are the early stages of the baby chick, okay? And so as that baby chick then continues to develop, you're gonna notice that, like, we have the weekend, right? So here's what this baby's gonna look like on Saturday. Here's what that baby chick's gonna look like on Sunday. And by Monday, look what happened. We went from little stubs of arms on like Saturday and Sunday, and then lo and behold, look, we get some chicken wings, chicken wings by Monday. They look a little bit more formed. This baby inside this egg is rapidly growing. It's one of the fastest growers. When we think about like the gestation period of embryos growing, chickens are pretty fast compared to other kinds of vertebrates. So that's pretty neat. Let's go ahead. And let's take a closer look here at what's really happening. So farmers will often take the chicken egg and actually hold up like a flashlight or a bright light up against the egg, and that's called candling. So what you see right here in this picture are real life pictures of what's happening inside the egg. Now, my goal is to next week go to your classrooms, and hopefully I'm going to figure out how to keep an egg really nice and warm. I'm going to probably have like a heating pad or something like that, so I don't hurt and damage the egg. And I'm going to try and come to some of your classrooms next week so that we can candle it and see that little baby chicken in there growing. So by the time I get to your classrooms next week to hopefully visit some of you, we're going to be in this realm. And it's really, these are the critical times to start candling, because if we do it too late, look what happens. It's kind of hard to see what's happening inside, isn't it? So hopefully the first part of the week next week, you will get Mrs. Rip running into your classroom, and I'll be like, I got a quick minute. And I'll have like a nice warm egg and a nice warm cozy blanket and a heater. And I'll come in and say, can we candle real fast? And then you'll get to see it. Okie dokes. All right. It'll be really cool. What's fun is that it's almost like seeing X-ray vision through the egg. So you can see that wonderful, beautiful chick growing and developing. All right, so once again, today is day 4. This is what, if we were to candle right now and shine a bright flashlight, we would be right here, day 4, okay? And then over the weekend, day 5, day 6, it's still growing. And then by day 7 next week, we're going to be able to see a tiny, it looks more like a tiny little baby chick in there. And that is going to be super exciting to see. All right, let's go ahead. I have just a few more pictures here and a few more things to share with you. So this is a picture of our actual chicken eggs that we got. You'll notice that there is chicken poop on them. They are different colors and some of them are different sizes. Do you know that chickens lay different colors of eggs depending upon the type of chicken that they are? That's really cool. You'll also see here that this is also a really great picture of our incubator. And so this right here, this little button over here, or this panel shows us the temperature. And then this panel over here on this side, this tells us the humidity level of our incubator. And all that we ask is that as you are coming in here to observe these wonderful chickens, please, please, please do not touch the incubator and don't mess with the power, because if it goes off, then we're going to have dead chickens. And that's going to be heartbreaking. So please, please, please be mindful of the beautiful living creatures that are there, and let's be kind to them, okay? All right, so let's go on to our next page. And our next page shows you a little bit of the different kinds of chickens and their eggs. What's nice is that you can see there's a lot of different kinds of chickens out there. And I will have this available for you to this slideshow. So if you want to click on some of these links to see the actual chicken, like the adult chicken with the chick versus what the egg looks like, you can do that, which is really, really cool. I will do one real fast for you here. So here, this chicken right here, this is called a Buckeye chicken. And in the Buckeye chicken, dun, 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 as the webpage loads here. So I'm just at a regular hatchery where you can buy the chicken eggs, and they will send them to you fertilized so that then you can have them. So this is $6 an egg. Or $6 a chick, I think. Yeah, this one's $6 a chick. But so the animal itself, this one is called a Buckeye chicken. Notice how he's nice and beautiful. Looks like a Buckeye, right? Like the Buckeye, the nut. And then we've got, here's its eggs that it lays. Look at those beautiful creamy brown eggs. And then here is the rooster. This is the male. Notice how he has the crest, he's got a wattle, a little bit more color to him there. And then here is the baby chick of the Buckeye. Pretty cool, right? So it's not all yellow. Notice how it kind of has like a brownie red to it. So that was pretty fun. Let me share just a couple more slides here for you, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so just again, chickens lay all different kinds of eggs, and we'll figure out, I'm trying to right now talk with Mr. Hamilton, our awesome farmer and former assistant superintendent, to take us on a virtual field trip of his farm where our eggs actually came from. So when I learn about that virtual field trip, I will share that all with you so that you can join in. But notice how there's a lot of different names, like some of the bluey green ones are called Easter eggs. There is like the golden lace Wyandotte. There is a golden lace Wyandotte. There's that one. There's a barred rock egg. There's a chicken that's called the Marins. Look at that. That's like a reddy brown. How beautiful is that? There's one that lays like an olive green, and that one's called an moss egger. And so there are lots of different types of chickens out there, and they all lay different colors of eggs. They're not all the beautiful white ones that you might usually see at the supermarket. All right, so this is my last slide. I want to leave you here with the thought of where is our chicken at today? We are right now there in day 4. And over the weekend, we are going to have a lot of growth and development happening. I am so thankful that you were here today to join us for this wonderful, just learn about our chickens. And, since it is Friday, I bet you probably want a little bit of a stretch, huh? All right, everyone go ahead and stand up. You got a 1-minute dance party before you get to probably pack up and get ready for the day. So without much further ado, let's get ready. Let's have a dance party. Here we go. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. By the way, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along. Bye, big friends. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you, big friends.